those who would like to start early, especially group A, B, C, D, E, F, whatever, you have finished your presentation already for the case study. All right. So because we will present individually, each will be about few minutes, 5 minutes only. All right. And then my tentative schedule will be week 11. It will be individual member for group A, B, C, D, which is about half of the class. And week 12 will be the remaining group, also about half of the class. Each of you will present individually, not on a group basis, and then your creative product idea. All right. And while everybody are doing the presentation, other classmates, you also need to pay attention and also help each other. And you mark down what is their product name, and whether you found that some problem with their product, and then also what can be suggested, what are the suggestions for her innovative idea. And we finished the individual presentation in week 12. You have about 1 week to work on a critique. You fill in a critique form on Monday, week 13. And as soon as I receive your individual critique form, I will try to do copy and paste, compile the individual, the comments, and send it to each classmate about classmates' comment on their product, which is on week 13 Monday. So you should start doing your business plan as soon as you can. And in week 13, you have further information, some support from your classmate about your product. And then so that you still have a 1 week time to refine your business plan, and then you submit in week 14, Monday in week 14, something like this. Okay, so that will be the upcoming event. It means that because we have no midterm test, we have no final exam, you will be still busy for the rest of the semester. People present week 10 and week 11 and 12, it involves everybody. Week 13 critique form due on Monday, not on Thursday, all right? And then because your classmate, including yourself, need time to prepare the business plan. And that's why as soon as Monday, I receive all the submission, and I try to copy and paste and break it into 31 so-called summary, and then I will send it to each individual classmate about your buddies, talk about your comments on your product, and so that you can write your business plan by having your own idea together with suggestions from the classmate. Okay, so that will be the whole mechanism. And as far as the week 11 and 12 presentation is concerned, I will send out some more information to you so that you know what to do. But at least for this time being, try to think of something that you want to work on. Use your creativity. You may say that, hey, I'm not that creative. Okay, J2 is not creative at all. That's why we need everybody to help each other. Okay, so that will be the upcoming event. For the time being, try to think of a new, creative, innovative product to be presented. If you can remember what I said last time, if you ask me, J2, what is meant by innovative product? The most ideal situation is something that never appeared in the whole planet. 成個宇宙未出現過。If you cannot do that, because that will need a lot of cognitive ability, brilliant idea. And then if something in overseas under research or just newly rolled out in the market, you can try to import the idea to Hong Kong, but you need to add in more feature to fit Hong Kong needs, something like this. All right, add in more function or feature, and then you can present, and classmates may also be able to give you more fresh idea. And to fill the critique form, submit the critique form, which let me double confirm again. Talks about 10%. Okay, your presentation also 10%, but presentation is just a 5 minutes presentation. You show a picture of your product. Remember last time I said that you are having an intelligent robot, and the robot with a panel, with a speaker, with some role, 小robot, something like this, and then to tell people what are the features, the function, and classmate can help you say, your idea is quite good, but you can add in more feature, add in more function, blah, 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 blah. All right, something like this. And then I will email a little bit more information to you in the next 5 days, 10 days or something. Okay. So up to this moment, any questions? I have spent 15 minutes on this already, which is, a little bit behind schedule. And anyway, so that's all I want to say for the time being. Anybody have any question at this moment? Thank you, Jasper. All right. If you have questions, email me to make appointment, telephone me, etc. Okay. And now we go back to my normal track after my bullshitting, okay, about the announcement. Actually, not really bullshitting because some important information you need to know. All right. I'm talking about what is happening today in week 9, what will be happening in the next few weeks for the rest of the semester. Okay. And then I will take this away. You take this whiteboard away, and then you will take the attendance. After attendance, the presentation group, try to get ready, share your PowerPoint slide, test the microphone, make sure it works. Critique group also try to get ready, copy and paste your question. I haven't received the critique form yet. I suspect because you have a short period of time. We will sort that out later on. Okay, so this will be the schedule. And if you want, you can just take a photo or screen capture. Even though I will show it again later on, and then we will go back to my normal track, talking about taking attendance and starting the presentation. After presentation, short break, and after that, we'll come back to our boring lecture on chapter 7 and chapter 9. Okay, yes, let me take this away for the time being and show you the QR code, which is here. And because of the CRN for this class, which is X73, 10X73, so type it twice, X73, X73, yes, check, take the attendance now, and after that, we'll move on. The passcode, you can see from the top left-hand corner. Good boy, good girl, thank you so much. Thank you for your efficient work. Yes, thanks everybody. The two I have seen in my chat room is Jeffrey and Jasper. Okay, J and J. All right. J, thank you, J and J. J2, thank you, Jeffrey and Jasper, and also other also finished. Okay, Whiting and also Chi Ching. Thank you. Yes, I will take the QR code away in 10 seconds time. Okay, which is good. Now I will take this away. Quite a lot of you have finished. A lot of you indicate done, which is good. And now, presentation group, try to share your screen, and we will start in 30 seconds time. Go ahead and share your screen. Okay, I can see the PowerPoint slide now. For the presentation today, I just give you some pre-presentation briefing. Unlike what we have done in the past, Dropbox, Toms, Embrace Informa, D-Lite, Warby Parker, they are real company. For the case today, I suspect that it might not be the real company. The author of the book, the writer of the book, just try to make up something. And that's why this group may not be able to show you any video, okay, about the company background, etc. Just a makeup company about two young graduate, Jack and Sarah. And in case in future you want to start your business as a startup, right after your graduation of bachelor degree. And then I think this is quite a good story as a rehearsal, what they have done in order to save the legal fee, etc. Okay, so if your group is ready, you can start anytime, please. Turn on microphone to test whether it works or not, and you can start anytime. Hello, anybody home? I'm not sure other classmates. I can hear nobody saying anything.
Why?
Yes. Finally. Yes. Okay. Yes.
Okay. So, good afternoon, everyone. Today we are going to talk about the virtual company. It's called iUser Accessory, and here is our group member. Okay, please. Okay. Oh, content. And sorry. Here is the content and 等一下，等一陣啊。Okay. First we'll talk about the background, and then 3 questions, and finally the conclusion. And here is our group member. I am Nam. You can call me Thompson. 你哋可以自己介紹下自己先喎。
I'm Helen Chim Hoyland.
Hello, my name is Pansy Tang. You can call me Stacy. I'm year 3 student from BAJS.
Okay, so here is the background, and the virtual company iUser Accessory is created by Jack Pearson and Sarah James, and their business plan is to locate and operate 10 kiosks in malls and other high traffic areas to sell Apple phones, iPads, iPods accessories, and to make short videos for one-time fee to help users to better utilize their Apple devices via app and their homemade website. And the tentative name of their business is the iUser Accessory. Next, please. Okay, so for starters, and they have registered an internet domain. It is called www.iuseraccessory.com, but you can't find it on the internet. It's fake. So, and then they have also attended an entrepreneurship course at their university, and they have took the first place in a university-wide business plan competition and getting $10,000 in cash and $10,000 in in-kind services as the reward. Also, they have also conducted a feasibility analysis for the iUser accessories, which they have developed a concept statement and distributed to professors, electronic store owners, and Apple devices users and the parents of young Apple devices users. And the result was positive and instructive. Actually, they have also they also get the ideas from them and to sell their videos through apps and websites. instead of using DVDs. Next, please. Okay, so to further complete the preparation, they have conducted a survey of 410 people in their target market, which is ranged in 15 to 33 years old. And the majority of them are not aware those accessories exist, which is for example, like consoles or even phone cases, etc. And they have also showed an increasing interest to those gadgets. And they have completed 1 and 3 year pro forma financial statements of $66,000 to demonstrate the business is viable. For those who don't know what is pro forma financial statement, it is 預估報表，即係大概係你預期你嘅收入或者支出之類嘅，係。And then it is estimated 30,000 each from the friends and families, and 3,000 each from themselves. And the projected salary is 35,000 per year for both of them. And finally, they also have a meeting with an intellectual property lawyer, which they have prepared a list of issues for the meeting and emailed the list to the attorney a week before the meeting, so the attorney can prepare for the meeting. Okay, and it's time for my groupmate to discuss the first question.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Good. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm Helen, and now I will have a discussion on the questions. And the question is, complete Jack and Sarah's list for them, including the issues you think they will place on the list along with their recommendations. Which of the issues do you think will stimulate the most discussion with the attorney, and which issues do you think will stimulate the list? Next, please. First, I think they will discuss with the attorney the most is the founders' agreements, which is the documents that deal with the issues such as equity distributions, remunerations, and how long the founders have to stay to have their shares to fully chest. And for the recommendations, they can make the agreements between Jack and Sarah's only, since this is Jack's and Sarah's operating business. Next, please. The next issue is to avoid the legal dispute. Mainly, they will have the businessmen are included in legal disputes is due to the misunderstanding, sloppiness, careless, or their lack of the knowledge about the law. Next slide, please. For the recommendations, they can meet all the contractual obligations, such as they can promise to the vendors and customers for paying and delivering their goods or service on time and promise them. Next is to avoid undercapitalizations so as to prevent some financial problems and being struggle in legal dispute. Next is getting everything in writing, so to prevent having legal problems from preparing every agreement and contract in writing. Next is to setting standard so as to avoid being trouble. Next slide, please. The next issue is to choose an attorney, and for the recommendation is Jack and Sarah can choose the attorney as early as possible. And for the startup, many startup don't lack of money at first in the beginning, so they can pay the attorney with an installment plan or another payment so as to have a needs on attorney without having the staff of money. And also they can save some legal fees or group the legal matters together and offer to help attorney, and also can ask their attorney to join their consultants. Next, please. Besides the issues for the form of Jack and Sarah's business ownership, the recommendation is partnership and limited liability company, since they are the founders have two and they can work together. So these are the recommendations of the form of business and ownership. Next, please. I will pass the mic to my group mates. Thank you.
I'm Pansy Tang. My focus will be on Chapter 7, Question 42. What are some of the actions Jack and Sarah took prior to meeting with the attorney that are appropriate for them to have taken? Let's move on to my next point. Jack and Sarah plan to launch their business on September 15. This is a couple of months prior to the start of busy Christmas seasons, and Jack and Sarah need to identify the name of good small business attorney. Moreover, the next step is make the appointment to identify an attorney. Appointment schedule will be held on July 16. Next page, please. So they will meet an attorney at the attorney's office in 2:15 p.m. on July 16, and then this leads me to my next session. Jack and Sarah are granted from the SBDC class. So why granted from the SBDC class? The answer is plan carefully the time and minimize expenses spent with an attorney. Next page, please. On the other hand, they will spend several events at a local bus and novel bookstore, so they need a book, deal with forms of business ownership and other legal issues, to make concise list of issues to discuss with the attorney. One of the most important things is preparing a business plan. A business plan can help them lead the discussion and make recommendations. Next page, please. Turning to my final point, here is advice from Sarah Stead. Sarah Stead is a real estate agent. He had many experience to deal with attorneys. I would like to point out attorneys are helpful and necessary, but shouldn't make decisions for Sarah. Finally, share insight with Jack. Jack will follow the advice for coming up meeting. Let's move on to the next presenter. Thank you.
Sorry for the self-introduction. I'm Kevin Vinci, and I'm going to talk about question 42. The question is, it is too early for Jack and Sarah to begin laying an ethical foundation for their proposed venture? If not, what steps could they take now as a foundation for an ethical culture within their frame? Our answer is no, it's not too early. You may say that, but they haven't even formally registered a company. Yes, but there will be problems at every stage. Anyway, what I'm meaning by this is about the ethical dilemma. The ethical dilemma can appear at every stage when Jack and Sarah start up their company, as they need to do a lot of different decision from the method to start a company. How do you explain their service? How do they explain their service and business plan to investors and customers, and how to declare a company status to the public and keep a high grade of transparency, or even when they need to sell the company in the future, they also need to think about what to do with their earned money. So it is never too early to begin laying an ethical foundation. It is worth noting that the performance when Jack and Sarah are handling facial capital, according to their projection, they should be cash flow positive within 4 months and with no need any additional infusions of cash, unless they expand the business beyond the scope of their original business plan. Then they are able to each contribute $3,000 to the business plan. Then they're able to each contribute $3,000 to the business personally, and we're able to gain commitments of $3,000 each from their respective group of friends and family, which total is $66,000 is their attorney of SBDC class, saying that it's all right to talk to people about founding Pearl to talking to and but don't actually accept any money until you have your legal ducks in order. You may wonder that it is just a normal position. Is there any ethical dilemma that appeared? Actually, they can lie to get more additional infusions of cash, or they can accept the money earlier before the legal debts in order, because they want to get things faster, or it can bring the benefits to them or company, but it is unethical because they are lying to do so. As we learned it, to establish a strong ethical culture, the first step is to lead by example. As a result, they didn't lie to get more money or earlier, other than their own money. Jack and Sarah don't actually have the $66,000 yet, and they can accumulate it within 1 month, since they are confident that the business is a goal. So they did a brilliant job for lead by example. We looked to the question, if not, what steps could they take now as a foundation for an ethical culture within their firm? They did the first step, which is lead by example, and the next one is establish a code of conduct. For their code of conduct, they can use these common sections, which is ethical principle, values, accountability, standard of conduct, standard of practice, and disciplinary action. And you can see at the right side, this is a Sarah code of conduct, which can Jack and Sarah can refer to this to establish their own code of conduct. So after the drawing of the code of conduct, they need to consult staff and stakeholders. For example, for the question, what does ethics mean to you? How effectively does the business put its value into practice? Would this code of conduct help you make decisions? How could it be more helpful? This kind of question can help the employees to let Jack and Sarah know what kind of ethical action they need to take and how can they use this action to make their business company better. And the point of to write is use simple, clear language and use some sample and get professional proofreader to read before the propose. And the third one is employment and ethic training program, which is for the company running. The ethic program guide here is identified and renew the value of the company and secure flexible community from senior managers and engage board of director, deliver an ethic code or code of business conduct, build ethics into mission and visual statements, integrate ethics or aspect of company communications, which all of this is about how can you run your company in an ethic way and with a complete perfect system. So after they did all this step, although they are still in the step for the consultation from the lawyer, but after they can formulate their company, then they can start to plan all these steps to build up their ethical culture in their company. I'm going to pass to the next groupmate.
Okay, so in conclusion, you shouldn't be afraid of starting your business too early. I mean, Warren Buffett started his business at 7 years old, and I mean, I don't see why we shouldn't start in when we are in university. Okay, so also you should make agreements between founders. Actually, 65% of high potential startups failed as a result of conflict among co-founders. So this is very important for you to not to fail. Okay, and also you have to avoid legal disputes and choose attorney as early as possible so that your attorney can fully understand your company's situation and decreasing the chances of a legal crisis in every step. Next, please. And while you're running your own firm, you should prevent financial problems and document everything in written form in case of any document is needed for evidence, and establish a code of conduct within your firm and develop professional ethics for employees. So to keep your staff in line and not to do things that are not supposed to do. And this is the end of our presentation. And here's the reference. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right. And after the presentation, the next section will be Q&A before the critique. Q&A. All other classmates, before the critique session, anybody have anything you want to clarify, you want to know, or you have suggestion for the presentation group? Anybody other than the critique group? Anybody have any questions?
Hi, I'm Taiwan Yu. In this
Okay, good.
case,
Go ahead.
in this case, Sarah and Jack want to save legal fees, but when
Okay, hold on. I know you are the critique group, right?
Yes.
I'm now asking, before the critique group, any other classmate have any questions?
Okay.
If no, critique group, follow the past 6 weeks pattern. You try to pop up your questions and then turn on microphone to ask. All right, and then also, as I said, or in the course online critique group, you need to send me your critique form. I have nothing in hand at this moment. I suspect that part of the reason for your group didn't send the form to me is you have a late receipt of the PowerPoint slide. So present group, can you tell me when did you send your presentation material to the critique group? I'm now asking presentation group first. When did you send your material to the critique group? All right, you upload the form. Okay, somebody write privately to me at 2:50, 2:52. Okay, thank you. Actually, this I just got a message from the chat room privately. All right, but now we dead air for 30 seconds. I'm now asking presentation group. When did you send your file to the critique group?
Hello.
Hello.
We send our PPT to the critique group at 10 o'clock today.
Okay, and do you know what should be the time requirement?
Yes, we know the time requirement is 48 hours before the
Okay,
presentation.
so try to observe the rule and penalty will be imposed because if you are deadline fighter, this is your choice, but you are affecting the critique group. And then the critique group didn't send the form to me on time, it will affect me, all right? And that's why it will be a vicious cycle. And then it's doing no good to nobody, all right? Doing any good to anybody doesn't, it's not ideal, all right? So try not to be a deadline fighter, all right? And then now, I haven't got anything with me because just now I saw that they upload only about 1 hour ago, okay? And then that's why I have no chance to print it out. Anyway, go ahead, critique group. You can ask the question now and try to pop up the question because I have nothing in hand because you haven't got the form ready simply because you received late. To be fair to the critique group, understandable because you didn't receive 40 hours in advance, all right? Anyway, yes, you can start asking your question and also pop up the question, copy and paste. We have been doing that in the past 6 weeks, so you should be able to familiar with what we have unless you never come to class, and then it is another matter. Go ahead. For critique group.
Hi, I'm Taiwan Yu. I have a question for you guys. In this case, Sarah and Jack want to save legal fees, but when their plan exceeds expectation, do they need to hand in a new document to the attorney?
Thank you for bringing that point up. To go back to the idea of planning a business plan, actually we have a step to writing a law form for the business plan, such as consider how much revenue you will need, executive summary, also and implement marketing tests on each case's fee, etc. Thank you.
All right. Basically, I'm sorry that present group, your answer are on the wrong track, or it seems to me that you don't even understand the case or the spirit. You want to talk to the lawyer because you don't want to get any legal dispute. You don't want to get involved in, litigation. 你唔想有法律訴訟, and that's why you need to talk to the attorney, the lawyer, about something that related to legal matters, 一啲法律上嘅事件. Just now you answer, in our business plan, we have executive summary, we have your product idea, etc. The business plan is not something legal document, all right? You just do it before you roll out something. It is something related to your operational one, not exactly the lawyer will not consult, your feasibility analysis, your executive summary is good. The lawyer, the attorney is not the potential investor. You want to ask them something, if I start a business, if I haven't got any documentation, if I applied the government license, am I illegal to operate? Things like that. Not talking about your business idea, whether it is good or not. All right. Okay. So that's why after you talk to the lawyer about something legal matter, legal related, and whether you need to talk to them a second time to hand in new document, that's why you are not actually answering the question. Okay. So move on to the next critique question. After popping up the question, yes, you can turn on the microphone. Thank you. Go ahead.
And my question is, in slide 26, you will mention that Jack and Sarah could implement an FX chain program for their firm, but they may need to use extra money to hire outside vendors to talk about the business to the employees, and the employees also need to use the extra time to attend the program. Although they may have many potential payoff by implementing an FX chain program into the company, how can the employees use the language of business ethics to help the company to earn more money?
Go to slide number 26. Okay, so you said that you implement training by a productivity knowledge leader. I think they are something like a professional outsider, a professional trainer. They can train people in terms of the ethical mindset, etc. Right? And the critique group asks you, yes, you employ outsider. Number one, money. Number two, time. And you got 10 kiosks, 10 shops. Would the employee, close the shop, go to attend training? It costs time, it costs money, and also you employ all these. Do you think the benefit will outweigh the cost or something?
Thank you for your questions. I think for the ethics training program, yes, it's needs some more time and more money for them to for the employees to have the training program, but we should know that this is for the basic of a company. So I think if a company, Jack and Sarah's company, didn't build up this basic of ethics, then their company will not get more, will not get better and better. So And for the how can the employees use the knowledge of business ethics to help the company to earn more money? As we learned that the ethics culture can provide potential affordance of fine and better access of capital, and improve customer loyalty. So for these three results, the benefits from the agriculture, I think it is gonna help the company to earn more money because their employees know how to do to make the company better, and how to do better when they face some ethics problems or when they face their customer.
Okay, this time the answer is good. Go to slide number 27. All right, so for Chinese saying, if you are not willing to spend small amount, and then you may lose some big income. 小財唔出，大財唔入. All right, and then you want to save money, you don't want to provide ethical training to your employee. End up your company. Let me get the pen first. Sorry, your company end up got a poor brand name, and sorry, let me try to get it done. I got a pen first. Hold on. Okay, so if you don't want to spend a small amount of money and end up your employee are not being ethical, you have a poor brand name. And with a poor brand name, your employee feel demotivated. Customer won't go for your business. You may lose a lot of big income, and even there may be some sort of punishment. Your company become very weak, and that's why, yes, it costs money to employ outsider, but the money you spend is worthwhile because 小財唔出，大財唔入. You may lose some big income in future in a longer term. And that's why it is worthwhile to spend money, to spend time, something like this, okay? All right, yes, good. Move on to the next question.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Go ahead.
In slide 25, you mentioned that consult the staff and stakeholders, but the entrepreneur have a lot of experience before. Why they need to consult stakeholders? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. I think the answer is very simple because they are the part of company. So is the sorry, as the code of conduct is used for the whole company, every members in the company. So it is a bit unlogical to not ask the entrepreneur. And sorry, here's something. And as you said, they have a lot of experience. So when Jack and Sarah have a consult to them, then they can have a more useful advice to give Jack and Sarah to make everything better. That's why, and the experience is, or in other way, this is more good, more better to ask the entrepreneur because they have a lot of experience.
Okay, so first of all, talking about the question, you said that entrepreneurs have lots of experience before. Actually, might not be that true. Just imagine if you finish your bachelor degree, you want to have a startup to become an entrepreneur, you might not have too many experience. And also for Jack and Sarah, they are also young graduate, and that's why your question-wise, entrepreneur does not necessarily have lots of experience before. And number two, even though they're experienced, sometimes consultation is a sense of ownership. And then it means that the employee will feel, oh, my boss is so good. Whenever they want to decide something, they consult us, all right? If you're talking about stakeholder, even external people, and people think that you have a good corporate image because you care about your customer, you care about all the stakeholder. Stakeholder are somebody who have a impact relationship with a company. In Cantonese, we call it 持份者, 利益關係者. And then those stakeholders will think, oh, you are so good because whatever your decision, you may affect us. Us means customer, employee, investor, banker, whatever. And then at least the corporate image is good, all right? Okay, next questions, or to see whether you have more questions to ask.
Hello.
Go ahead. Yes, good. Go ahead.
I want to ask for some detail. In slide 9 and 10, you recommend to prevent the financial problems for avoiding the legal dispute.
Go ahead.
So can you give some specific example for what can Jack and Sarah do to actually avoid the undercapitalization?
First, thank you for your questions. If for the specific example, I think that maybe Jack and Sarah can have a brief plan and brief list to calculate for their finance and to prevent or avoid that their finance won't waste on other aspect that is not useful, or maybe to make sure that their finance or their capital will make good use for their business. So I think it's the example of to prevent undercapitalization.
Okay, yes, that's true. All right, so at the beginning, they talk about some finance matter, talking about, Jack and Sarah got $66,000 from external people, etc., etc. And then from time to time, one of the major problem of new startup, because they don't have experience, also maybe they are not business students, something, and then they have no idea financing their, project, financing their company. And then without a proper budgeting, and then they keep on buying equipment, buying stock, end up they are running out of cash, all right? And then the supplier, the company may submit a claim to the court to ask them to declare bankruptcy, all right? If you keep on spending without a proper planning, and then you owe people a lot of money because you are lacking of money, and then you get yourself in a big trouble. All those investor or the people who loan to you, such as creditor, supplier, they will really lodge a claim to the court, 入稟法庭, and ask you to declare bankrupt, 要求你宣布破產, and then you will get yourself big trouble. That's why you need to consult a lawyer about all those financial consequences, lack of capital, etc. Okay, something like this. Of course, later on I still have some other comment. Let me just try to allow the critique group finish their part first. Okay, critique group, any other questions from your part? Any other questions? Critique group finish, or you still have question? No question. Okay, thank you. All right, because I haven't got the form because you have a short time to prepare. Understandable. And if you're sending to me, okay. Now let me do my part. First of all, talking about the critique group. In the past, I have already sent out the file saying that you should try to see the presentation group whether they have done the question correctly, doing it the right way. And even they have answered the question correctly, whether they are sufficient. All right. If they are doing the right way, are they doing the right? If they are doing the right thing, are they doing the right thing in the right way? Okay. But it seems that the group may have some potential problem questions, but you haven't really been able to address. Okay. So let me do my part. Okay, so content-wise, can you go to slide number, let me see, I cannot, slide number 10, I think it should be. Slide number 10, not this one. Go to the question one. Your slide number may be different from the one I, print out. So you should use the same one, otherwise you may have problem in communicating. Go to the question about 741. Okay, so this is the question, and they are asking, prepare the list. And of course, you got the list, all right, which is true, which is good. However, if I didn't miss anything, or correct me if I am wrong. Have you answered this one yet? Did I miss anything? Okay, in the next few PowerPoint slide, you got the list, you got recommendation, which is true. But what about second part of the question? You saw elderly, you don't even give a seat. I am very unethical. But strictly speaking, because there is no particular law, rule, ordinance to restrict people or to ensure people, you must give the seat to the elderly, to the needy. And then I didn't breach any regulation, but JTO has done a poor job. All right, so this is one of the example. I can be unethical, but so-called not illegal. Okay, I didn't do anything wrong, and the police cannot catch me something. All right, so another one which is definitely crazy one. Okay, just extreme example. I can be very ethical this time, but very illegal. All right. So just crazy example, of course not true. If JTO try to kidnap Lee Ka-shing, okay, Lee Ka-shing, 綁架, and then I got $10 million, thousands, millions of dollars, and I give all the money to the poor people. I don't even have $1 in my pocket. So, basically, I am very ethical because I give 扶濟貧. All right, and then hey, $10 million to Lee Ka-shing is not that much, but it will help a lot of poor people. And then I myself even didn't put any $1 single in my pocket. So I think this is very ethical. But sorry, you have done the wrong thing. You should not kidnap people because they are extremely illegal. Okay, criminal offense, something like this. And that's why sometimes we put this together. Of course, the most ideal situation is you did not breach any regulation. Okay, you are legally doing something, and at the same time, you are ethically very high standard ethical condition, which will be good. All right. Anyway, okay, let's get back here. So In this lecture notes or in the next 20 minutes, we finished something about ethical last time, and now we will go to the legal C, founders agreement. D, avoiding legal disputes, which the group have mentioned something about that. And then I will spend 2 minutes on license and permit, and then few minutes on the form of business ownership. Okay, so this is the summary note. Strictly speaking, we finished, part A and B only, and we will continue with C, D, and then item 2 and item 3. Item 3 got more than 10 PowerPoint slides, but I will just briefly tell you what are they. Especially non-business student, you might find it difficult, and that's why to make your life easy. Of course, even Jato said it briefly, but if you want to know more about that, Jato still have the responsibility of giving you more. You can make an appointment with me, a Zoom meeting, telephone consultation, and then I can tell you more, to reduce your boredom, the boring part, and then I will just give you a brief idea. Okay, so this is my plan. In the next 20 minutes. Okay, so what I said just now is I will now try to finish chapter 7, which I will not go into full detail about everything. All right, and then what I will be covering, of course, will be item C, D, item 2, and item 3. Okay, so let's do it. And I hope I can spend, the next 30 minutes to do that. And after that, we approach the third hour. I will give you a break, taking attendance, and then we'll start chapter 9, so that people presenting next week still have a better idea of what is going on. Okay, so let's start. If you cannot see the PowerPoint slide, and suppose you are not seeing the PowerPoint slide with the page on chapter 7, preparing ethical and legal. Okay, so let's start. Yes, from time to time, a lot of us, including Jato, thinks that I think I'm quite knowledgeable. I know a lot of things about law. Sorry, this is not true. We always overestimate about our knowledge on legal matters, which eventually will cause us a lot of trouble. And that's why we should consult the lawyer right at the beginning, all right, as soon as possible at the time of launching. And it is especially legal matters, because if you got legal matters, end up, if this is a criminal offense, 刑事罪行, you may even get in jail. However, when we talk about ethical one, as I said, sometimes you are not very ethical, but you didn't breach any regulation, all right, because there's no particular law talking about giving a seat to the pregnant woman, elderly, but you should do that in all situations, whether taking bus, MTR, whatever. And just now, they finished talking about the questions about, is it too early to start the ethical foundation? Answer is no, never too early. You should start right at the beginning to make a good foundation. And there are a lot of payoff. The payoff is 回報, okay, a potential benefit. And that's why question 3A, you should answer that. Yes, if you have a strong ethical culture, ethical foundation, good corporate image, employee like you, customer like you, and then you become very strong investor, happy to loan you money. So that's why we should start early to make a good start. And question 3B, yes, they have answered correctly. What are the steps? The steps are 上梁不正下梁歪, fish sting from the head. And that's why we should start by acting ourselves as a role model, lead by example. And I myself being ethical not good enough, we should establish code of conflict, and then with the code of conflict, you provide training to them. So this is the answer. Now, let's go to here. If you can recall last time, I give a real life example. talking about more than 13, 14 years ago, when our when a family want to have a company, family business, and then we consult the lawyer. At that time, they already charge us 6,500 per hour, and with minimum charge. Okay, and that's why you won't say, oh, I charge you by minute, and if you talk to me for 2 minutes, I will charge you $200. Not that one. All right, and that's why all the new startup, they have good idea but lack of fund, and that's why lack of funding money, and that's why they should do all this. Jack and Sarah, yes, they try to prepare list and send it to the lawyer in advance in order to save time, blah, 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 blah. So this is what we have covered last time. Now, okay, here is another one. Okay, so we haven't really fully covered that yet, but I think something also you need to pay attention to. Let me get a slide first. Okay, so what we said here, talking about drafting a founders agreement, why they important, and the founders agreement can be 40, 50 pages long. All right, why? Let me just show an example to you. Let's say, for example, talking about the founders agreement. Okay, let me give you an example, and I try to get a pen first. Hold on. And it's okay. Excuse me. Sorry. Here. Okay, and just imagine. Now we have the case talking about Jack and Sarah. All right. Sorry for the mouse. It is really crazy. Okay, so Jack and Sarah, they were studying university, and then they work part-time in 7-Eleven, and then in Hong Kong Jockey Club as a talibet, in the tutorial center as a tutor, and then just for example, each of them Hong Kong dollar. Okay, well, if a Hong Kong case, okay, during the bachelor degree, year 1, year 2 summertime, so each of them try to work a lot of part-time job. And total got $400,000, 40萬成立一盤生意, and then they sell iPhone accessory, just what the case, something like that, and then they work together for 3 years, and it become very successful. All right, good news. As a startup, they start good because they have a good legal, ethical foundation, become successful for 3 years. But one day, Sarah said that, oh my goodness, not my goodness. Oh, while I was in university, I got a boyfriend, and now I want to get married. And after getting married, I want to have baby. So I want to quit. Okay, of course, this is a sad news because they both work together very successfully, and then the business is getting bigger, better and better. Unfortunately, Sarah said, oh, at that time, I'm 28 years old, 30 years old, I want to get married, so I want to quit. Okay, under that situation, if Sarah said that, okay, I quit, and then I will sell my share. Okay, my, the share of the company. Okay, I really hate the mouse. Okay, to Donald. All right, and then because I am one of the shareholder, I am the owner, I have the right to control my share, and then I sell it to Donald. Unfortunately, Donald cannot get along well with Jack, and they have big argument every day, and end up they separate, they broke up, the business closed down. So it will be very miserable, and that's why when setting up the business, it will be better. You try to draft a founders agreement, 先小人後君子. Okay, and then as I said, each of them, while they are studying their degree, whether Japanese study, whether finance, whether accounting, they work a lot of part-time job on Saturday, Sunday evening. They have their sweat equity, and then they start their business and they run successfully. However, if one of them want to quit. And just like what the case I quote, Sarah sell it to Donald, and that Donald is a crazy one. Maybe his full name is Donald Trump, okay? And then Donald Trump is crazy, cannot get along well with the existing one. But what can we do? And that's why if in your founders agreement, you have a buyback clause, even if the presentation group didn't mention anything or a little bit about that, no problem, because I haven't lectured on that yet. So don't worry, okay? So it must be, the buyback clause must be included in the founders agreement, all right? So that in case, Sarah, you want to quit, no problem, but don't say that you have the right to sell it to Donald about your share, and Jack should have the priority of getting your share, all right? Rather than you have the freedom to sell it to third party. Okay, so in order to make sure my sweat money or the血汗錢, my 3-year effort still can go on. If somebody crazy join and a big argument, actually we close down our business, it is really a bad outcome, a sad story if we close down the company. And that's why under that situation, you have a buyback clause. With the buyback clause, people who leave the company, like Sarah, and then I, as Jack, have the responsibility, or not responsibility, have the right to get the share you used to own, okay, and then not selling to someone else, because someone else may not feel interest in doing that, okay? So Sarah, you cannot sell your share to a third person unless I agree, I as Jack, okay? Where's my point? Unless I agree, because in case you sell it to somebody who is not fully committed, just like Donald Trump, and then you say, hey, I don't care, and then every day argue with Jack, is not ideal. And that's why there must be a mechanism in the founders agreement to have the buyback clause. And that's why, yes, in future, you never know, it may be helpful to you, you know, when you start your business as a startup, right after you finish your degree, and then you don't have much experience, but it's good. You have taken a GE course about entrepreneurship, give you some basic idea about this one, okay, buyback clause, all right? And this is one of the important element or condition. 你應該有呢個條款喺你嗰個協議書裏邊， and this should be only one of the clause. And of course, if you start business with other best friend, even though they are your best friend, but don't take it for granted. When we talk about money, sometimes you know, even have argument between father and son, mother and daughter, 父子母女都冇情講嘅。 Okay, 一講到錢咧就可能有衝突㗎啦。And that's why you should have founders agreement, or you as a boy, you are Jack, your girlfriend is Sarah, and then, hey, we are lover, and then we start a business, and then no good, because end up, you never know, after you have broken up, there can be a lot of trouble. So founders agreement is important. And here is the partial list. At least some of, at least some of the items must be included, because we are not lawyer, and that's why you should consult the lawyer to have a very comprehensive founders agreement, including what form of ownership. And in the next 20 minutes, I will show you we have 3 forms: one-man band, sole proprietor, sole trader; partnership, 合夥人關係; one person, 2 or more; and then also a limited liability company, which can be 1 to infinitive. All right, so I'll talk about that in the next 10 minutes. And of course, a buyback clause is also important. And also in future, when you earn money, when you lose money, what should be the ratio? Earning or losing money? Jack and Sarah, should it be 1 to 1? it means that 50-50 or 40-60 or 30-70, etc., etc. You must stay clear right at the beginning. Okay, otherwise, somebody who are very unreasonable, saying that 賺啊就係我6成，你4成啦。Okay, but if lose money and then I should be only 30%, you should bear 70%. Of course, 冇咁大隻蛤啦，冇隨街跳 or whatever. So you must stay clear. Earning or losing money, what should be the ratio? Okay. And then that is for the founders agreement. So which is part C. All right. And then now we will go to item. This one go to item 1D. Avoid legal dispute. Part of the content they have presented, but anyway, yes. At the beginning of the lecture notes in last week, we said that because you always overestimate your knowledge about legal matters. You thought that you are good at legal knowledge, but sorry, in reality, no. Even law students might not know everything. Especially we are, some of you business students, we are, from language, Japanese student, and then we are not expert in law. Or they my law okay, the legal profession, law profession, all right, and that's why we may not have good knowledge. Or even though you are you are law student, but sometimes you are being careless, or sometimes you misinterpret the law, and it can be big trouble. You may get bolted down. You may make yourself in a very difficult situation. This is extremely not ideal, no good, extremely bad. And that's why, how can we avoid that? Yes, you can do a lot of things to avoid. Number one, make sure you got everything black and white. And after black and white, you meet all the contractual obligation. All right. And then if everything can be, let me show it first. Here. Okay. If everything black and white and everything written down, and you also follow all the conditions, which is point 1. All right. So you look at the summary, it will give you a better idea. And then, yes, it will be better. I will show you some example later on, or give you some example. And number 1, meet all the terms and conditions. Number 3, writing. And number 2, okay, also what they have presented, don't overestimate your ability to earn money. And then if you got financial problem, and then you are starved for money, lack a lot of money. If you don't have money, you get yourself into litigation. Just now what I said, your creditor, your supplier might lodge a claim to the court to ask you to declare bankrupt. 佢會入稟法庭要求你破產, and then there will be a lot of bad consequence. And that's why try to avoid, make sure you have proper funding, a good financial planning. All right. And of course, we have a lot of experts here talking about the finance one, just like Zach, Jeffrey, Judy, and also others, Adil or something like that, Mohammed, etc. All right. Okay. Now, point number 3. Everything in writing. Okay. Let me just share with you some real example. I've been teaching in UW College Hong Kong or CCCU for more than 10 years, okay? And I still keep in touch with people who graduated 12 years ago, 10 years ago, because from time to time, when they switch job, when they change job, they normally will come and phone me, WhatsApp me, ask me to go for dinner. Of course, they have purpose, all right? And then because I'm an HR people in the past, okay, just some real cases, what happened before. And then number 1, sloppiness, 好草率 which we have talked about, and somebody who got a new job, and the employer saying that now I will, employ you as a finance officer, just for example, okay? Of course, the admin officer, and then your salary is $21,000 per month, and that's it, okay? Yes, they got it writing, which is good. However, or some even without proper writing, they just got a verbal contract, 口頭協議, definitely no good. However, even though if in writing, because they overestimate their knowledge, they didn't know that. So after he take up the job as a finance officer, just for example, okay, and salary quite good. My current salary is $18,000, but when I switched to a new job, I got 21,000. That's why I take up the job right away. However, after he joined the company, he found that the company is no good. So he want to resign within 3 months, within the probation period. However, even though this is in writing, but they, didn't have good knowledge about what should be included in the employment contract. And then within the first month, he want to quit. And then he said, hey, boss, I think that I'm not quite suitable for the company, or I got another job. Another job give me $24,000. I want to quit. And I want to give you 1 week notice. He thought that, he can follow the neighbor ordinance, 勞工法例. But the boss said, oh, no. If you want to quit, you need to give me 1 month notice. This is our company regulation, okay? And because they put everything in writing, but it is not comprehensive. And because he got a new job and urgently the new company say you should come ASAP. So he just give 1 week notice and end up because he didn't really pay full attention to the contract, employment contract, and the company tell him that, okay, you can leave 1 week later, but you need to pay me 3 weeks salary in lieu of notice, 3個星期嘅代通資金 penalty, something like that. Okay, of course, this is true story, and this is a sad story, and that's why you must be careful. And of course, you are not entrepreneur, but talking about employment contract, you can consult somebody, in your social network, in university, if you are studying business, or you can consult your HR professor, something like this, to ensure everything in writing and to protect you. Somebody also ignore about this, okay? They didn't know, oh, I thought everything followed neighbor ordinance, or you are 跟足勞工法例啊, but the company can make up something with some specific regulation rather than normally 1 week notice. If they require you to have 1 month notice, you need to follow that, something like this, all right? Okay, and of course, as far as your company employee is concerned, just like the code of ethics, it would be better. You need to put something in writing as what they have present, and also provide training to make sure 呢個守則 okay, 道德守則、操作守則, they meet the standard, and all your employee will follow all these regulation, standard, codes, something like this, okay? And that's why you are a young entrepreneur, you are a startup, you don't have too much experience in handling a new business. And then that's why, somehow this kind of information may be useful to you, okay? So we finished talking about the avoiding legal dispute. Now, we will change to, the other one, but just one more point for the legal dispute. And from time to time, if you get involved in some litigation, okay, litigation means 訴訟 here, all right? And then you will involve in some process which will cost you a lot of money, will cost you a long period of time. At the beginning of this lecture notes, we said that it will be very costly. Okay, 付上好多代價 very costly in terms of time. Okay, the litigation can last for 1, 2, 3 years. In terms of money, involve a lot of cost, 訟費、庭費, you know, and also your mental health, your stress, 仲會令你you know, depressed, you know, feel worry about that, and then 抑鬱症. So that's why don't overestimate about your legal knowledge. Try to consult lawyer. And of course, if we go into a litigation, it will involve a lot of money, a long period of time, and then you will feel so stressful during that few years. And is there any alternative? Yes, there will be, which is 調解. And you heard from the news, okay, especially finance people at the finance mediation, 金融調解中心, they even have a center to help people. Instead of going to the court, you can ask a mediator, 調解員, a mediator to settle. They are the third party, which very impartial. I don't know party A, I don't know party B. I am just the middleman to help you to reach agreement rather than going to courts. Just now we said, when we go to court, can be costly in time, money, and mental health. So there is something available in the market called mediator, and which he is not a judge, but you know, a formal mechanism to help people settle in a faster way, in a cheaper way. All right. Okay, now we jump to another part called license and permit. All right, so to make it short, as a Hong Kong case, if you want to start a business later on, basically you need a BR cert. Okay, any business student, if you are still awake, still alive, can you tell me, do you know what is meant by BR? Anybody have any idea? Whether you are from other faculty, business faculty? If you want to operate a business, you need a BR certificate. Yes, thank you. I love you. Okay, Jasper. A business registration certificate, 商業登記證. All right, so this is the license. Thank you, Jasper. And then on top of this, depending on the nature, apart from a BR is a must from 稅局, from IRD, Inland Revenue Department. And on top of this, if you are organizing an education center, tutorial center, 你搞補習社, all right? You may also need an education from Education Bureau, 要教育局申請一張 permit. If you are going for catering business, 飲食 or 酒吧, okay, you may need a food license. You may need a liquor license from 食環署, Environmental and Health Department. All right. So this is the Hong Kong regulation, local regulation. And if you are from China, from other Asian country, there may be some other one. What I'm saying is, for Hong Kong case, a BR is a must. And depending on your business, if you are selling t-shirt, might not be additional one, but if you are holding a tutorial center, you know, a noodle shop, a bar, etc., you may need that. Okay, so let me show you license permit. Okay, give me 30 seconds. Lecture summary. Sorry. Newspaper clipping. Let me give you a sample. Chapter 7. Okay, now if you are not seeing a newspaper clipping, let me know. All right. So as we said, IRD, if you want to start a business, you must get a business registration certificate to start your business as a license. And on top of this, depending on your nature, just now I said, if you are all, operating a noodle shop, and then you also need a food license. All right， 幫助有意經營食肆人士了解食肆牌照申請 ，and then the food environmental hygiene department, they even organize some seminar to teach people, to teach new entrepreneur. You don't have legal knowledge, and then you consult the lawyer, and you also try to find out, oh, apart from ABR, okay, and then I also need a permit. And then if you didn't know that and you start your noodle shop, 開間車仔麵檔，人哋發覺你無牌，告你充公罰錢坐監。Okay, so don't overestimate your legal knowledge. There can be a lot of bad consequences if you are being illegal. You are not following some legal knowledge, something like this. Okay, and that's why yes, you must consult the lawyer. All right, give me a few more minutes before I give you a break. Okay, so this is what we have covered, and what we said here. Yes, a license is must in Hong Kong. BR, business registration certificate. On top of license, you also need permit. As I said just now, along with a license, you may need one or more permit. 你開酒吧有食肆，可能要攞食肆牌同埋攞酒吧牌 selling liquor, okay, and then they may be two different permits. That's why they say one or more permit. Okay, so this is about the business license and permit. And now we go for the last item. And as I said, even though we have some 20 PowerPoint slides, but I will just briefly let you know there are different types. You can see from here. In future, depending on your nature and a lot of things, when you want to start your business, there are three types. Type number one, called sole proprietor. A sole proprietor is one-man band. Where is my pointer? Hold on. I lose my pointer. 哎呀，黐線啊，又嚟啦。Okay. Here, finally, one-man band, one-man shop, 獨資經營. And then you can go for partnership, 合夥人關係 partnership, and also limited liability company 有限公司 limited liability company or something like this. Okay, and you ask me, hey Gito, I want to start my business. Which one is better? One-man band, sole proprietor? Yes, here my pointer. One-man band is better. Partnership, limited company. If you ask me, I will give you a very good answer saying that, sorry, I don't know. Okay, I don't know because it depends on a lot of things. What we said here, no single form of business is good. 唔係全天候一個打倒全世界 and then really depends. There is no single form of business fit all situation. A lot of things to depends on. Number one, even your personality. Not just your personality will determine, all right, whether you are a dog L, you prefer to work alone because you don't want to get along with people. And also there are other factors. Here as the one, depending on these factors, personality is one of the things we didn't mention here, but apart from these, and then yes, the cost of setting up, okay, 成立嘅時候嘅費用, there may be some legal requirement. And apart from the cost of setting up, and also whether we are talking about my personal pocket, the liability, all right, I will give extreme example later on. And what about the tax rate? Whether, you know, sole proprietor, partnership, limited company, are they have a tax rate of 15% or 16.5% or more? And then there are local regulation. If you work, start the business in China, in Asian country, in Hong Kong, it may be different. And also number of people you have involved in the business. So all these will determine, should I go for sole proprietor, one-man band? Should I go for partnership? Or should I go for LLC, limited liability company? All right. Okay. Let me get the PowerPoint slide first. Okay, so you saw the diagram just now. Typically hinges on this factor, and even also talking about personality. All right, the cost of setting up, and what about personal liability, and the tax rate, and also whether it's easy to raise capital or not. All right, so let me just try to give a rough idea, and you can refer to PowerPoint slide on, and I will spend 5 minutes on that, and then we'll give you a break. Okay, let's try to do it. Okay, so number one is a sole trader. Number two is partnership. Number three is limited liability company. Okay, so obviously for sole trader, one person, 獨資經營. If Jack and Sarah, just like what we present, you definitely cannot go for sole trader because you have two or more person. And then for partnership, it can be two or more persons. And for limited liability company, it can be one or more. In the past, you know, back 5-6 years ago, it should be two or more, but nowadays it can be one or more. Okay, and also talk about which one is better. As I said, you asked me, my answer is I don't know. Okay, so there can be advantage and disadvantage. I'll just give you a brief idea. As far as the sole trader is concerned, one person, the advantage is you have full control. 你係老細，話晒事，唔使睇人面色。You are the only boss. All right. However, even though I can have full control, but sometimes it might not be good because it might be bad because I myself has limited talent, 財力、智力都有限。Okay, I'm a poor L, a 窮 L. I don't have a lot of money, and I am a seven head. I'm a stupid guy. That's why, you know, this will be the disadvantage. Talking about sole trader, but I myself control everything. Something like this. And of course, if you have partnership, you have 3, 4, 5 person. The advantage is you have more talent. Sorry about that. 黐線嘅真係個mouse. I'm really sick of that. And also you have talent 呢個字其實咧係叫 talent。小心，都係唔得，小心啲都唔得。Talent and capital, but the disadvantage will be 講到錢咧實鬧交嘅。And then you might have a lot of argument with your party. It can be in big trouble. Something like this. All right. And the most worst situation is, let's say, for example, Jack and Sarah. Jack and Sarah. All right. They operate a noodle shop, just for example. Okay, or one-man band, Jato operate a noodle shop. And one day, people who go to your shop and have fishball noodle, 食魚蛋麵, for some reason 近死咗 because your 魚蛋 your fishbowl got some fish bone inside， 魚蛋裏邊條骨啃死咗人 ，OK？ And then the people who eat your noodle die, and he is a lawyer, a high profession, and they claim you for $10 million。 食你粒魚蛋死咗，殺償1000萬 ，OK？ And then under that situation, if the court said that yes， 本席宣判要殺償1000萬係獲得呢個殺償 ，all right？ And then of course I don't have $10 million 1000萬 ，OK？ unless 聽晚六合彩我中1億 ，OK？And then yes I'm looking forward to it，OK？The March 6 tomorrow，all right？ And then under that situation, whether sole trader or partnership, you need to pay out of your own pocket。 你袋裏邊啲錢。老婆本、棺材本，乜都要嘔晒出嚟。Unless you declare bankrupt, all your money, your personal money, should go into here to pay for the compensation. If the court judged that you need to pay for $10 million to the people who die because they eat your food and cause his death, something like that. All right. But under the situation, if this is a limited liability company, and of course, you don't need to pay out of your own pocket anything in the business. And then you may say, in that case, why should we go for partnership? And then under that situation, even though they claim for $10 million, I don't need to really pay for that $10 million because we have a limited company. But 一啖砂糖，一啖屎, okay, there can be a lot of different conditions, all right? And you need to fulfill a lot of requirement, legal requirement. You need to have a book of account to go for an accountant to approve. Okay, so Jasper, in future, you are accountant, you can sign this kind of things, the financial statement, blah, 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 etc. And that's why even though say, hey,有冇咁傻啊? Limited liability company, yes, it's limited liability, but you need to fulfill a lot of legal requirement. Something like this. And as far as partnership is concerned, we have two types. One is called general partner. One is called limited partner. Okay, so what does it mean? Just some basic understanding, okay, a very quick one. If Jack and Sarah, they operate a business selling iPhone accessory, I presume that they are both general partner. Okay, and then if they are lack of funding, and then from time to time they consult their university professor. The university professor is, I don't know, Professor Hui, okay, 許樹昌教授, okay, something like that, right? Or Professor Yuan, Yuan Guo Yong, and then of course they are not, really have time to involve in selling iPhone accessory. But okay, in that case, you are my best friend's daughter. 你係我好朋友嘅細侄女，細侄。Okay, I can help. Under that situation, he can say, I can invest in your company, but I will serve as a limited partner only. Okay, so only the money I involve, but I can provide consultation to your business, give you some advice, but I will not involve in the daily operation. Okay, so I can be your partner, and then but my role is a limited partner. I won't interrupt in your day-to-day operation. I will invest in your company, but in case your noodle shop, kill people, and then don't come and ask me to help you to pay for a contribution, a part of it. I won't, because I also have limited liability, something like this. Okay. All right. As far as limited liability company is concerned, we have two types: private and public. And of course, for public limited liability company, which is the listed company, 就係上市公司. Of course, you have a lot of legal matters concerned. Okay, 要證監會啊，要港交所啊 whatever. If you're a listed company, however, if you want to set up a private liability company, no problem. 你可以去揾會計妹啦，即係 蚊開公司 something like that. So 會計妹會 help you. You know, normally you pay some say $5,000 and then you can buy a limited liability company, but this is a private one. A private one means it is not a listed. So you can be a director of a private limited company so long as you can pay for setting up the company, and each year you pay for all those audit fee, etc., etc. Okay, so these are the basic mechanism knowledge. All right. Okay, so for the remaining PowerPoint slide, they focus on sole proprietor, one-man band. They talk about the advantage and disadvantage. This is what I said just now. Advantage, disadvantage. After one-man band, sole trader, and then they go for partnership, 2 or more people. It can be a general or limited partner. And then advantage, disadvantage. And then after that, they have a limited liability company. Okay, and then also talk about advantage and disadvantage. Since we have no exam, yes, I will just leave it to you to read it. If you say, I'm interested in knowing more about that, Jato is always here. All right, something like this. Okay, yes, I know this is crazy, this is boring. And now, I consider finished chapter 6. Chapter 7. We KO item 6. We KO all this now. And another short break. The time now is 5:15. 5 minutes break. Come back at 5:20, and I will start chapter 9. So the people who work on chapter 9 pay particular attention. Something I say will be relevant, directly related to your presentation. Okay, so break time now. And during the break, I will show the attendance in this 5 minutes. After that, get ready chapter 9, whether hard or soft copy, whatever the way you are. All right. Okay, so break time. And let me try to get the QR code. Let's see. Oh, okay, hold on. Let me try to retrieve the QR code from the Moodle site. Okay, if you didn't see the QR code, let me know. Okay, so the CRM for this class is 10874. So password 874. This is for the third hour for the tutorial. Go ahead and get ready. Thank you, which is very fast. And get ready, chapter 9. Okay, I will start my lecture in 1 minute's time talking about chapter 9. And during the break just now, one of our former graduate WhatsApp me with the news saying that some comment, just side topic, okay, off the lecture, right? Talking about the name of CTU, all right? For those who study associate degree, CCCU, you might have a better sense of belonging, all right? So what do you think about the name? 南洋大學、華南大學。唉。Hong Kong has changed to such a condition situation. I personally think CTU 城市大學 which can be good, but 南洋華南大學 any of you have any opinion on this? Whether you like the new name, the possible new name, even though we have not confirmed yet, all right? But it seems interesting. Why bother to change? Yes. Somebody write to me with some comment, all right? And then true, okay? If we say that, we may breach national security law, right? True, all right? 係啦，又一城市大學咪幾好 ？Festival Walk University, all right, something like this. But 南洋華南，哇 ，learn 到咧真係，唉 ，dear, okay. I forgot. 工大改做咩話 ？Open University. Back few weeks ago, 2 months ago, they want to change to what？ 我唔記得咗添。工大想改做咩啊 ？Anybody have any idea？ 都大都會定都市大都會大學係啦。哎呀，真係 this is what people call a TL scene, right? And then Hong Kong become even extremely worse and worse. Okay, 南洋大城市大學 metropolitan is a little bit better. Okay, 大都會都大 Okay, but even it sounds like a nightclub 好似夜總會咁啊，但係好過冇啦。Okay, 唉，this is our Hong Kong now. Very disappointed. Okay. Anyway, okay. So let's get back to our lecture. Okay. And then whether in future we go to Lamyang, Walam, whatever. Okay. Okay. Yes. Chapter 9. All right. Okay. I will have. Let me see. Still half an hour, which is good because I need to cover something, especially for people presenting next week. All right. So chapter 9, we are talking about, this is the summary notes I already upload, talking about the new venture team. Okay, as we said just now, basically, when you want to do a startup, let me get a pen. Where's my pen? Startup. Okay, so for a new startup, and as we said just now, before the break, we can have sole proprietor, sole trader. We can have partnership. Each of them have advantage and disadvantage. Okay, talent, capital, easy to start, difficult to start, personal liability, etc., etc. Of course, while we're talking about a team, so this does not apply. It only applies to here or something here. Okay. And in chapter 9, at least in before the end of the class, I will cover some sort of definition. And then here we are talking about the founder, the qualities. Okay, let me remind you, this is chapter 9. For people who presenting the case in chapter 9, not just using the concept in chapter 9, for any other presentation, whatever you have learned before, you can use that. And that's why in chapter 1, okay, interaction time, we learn about successful characteristic. 4 alphabet. What are they? See people still alive here, still awake here. Chapter 1, successful characteristic. We have What are the 4 alphabet? The 4 characteristic. Anybody can help me? And chapter 2, we have what are yes, thank you. Okay, PICT here. And then is what? Chapter 2, basic personal characteristic. Yes, thank you. Okay, people who respond privately to me, which is good. Thank you for your response. Talking about PICT and SCCC, something like that. All right. And then, yes, thank you for the response for those people. All right. And then now, can anybody tell me S stand for what? Anybody can recall? S stand for what? To see whether people remember. All right. Hold on, let me see. Okay, yes. Thank you, Nicole, and thank you, Claudia, to answer that. And then, yes, network, social network, which is good. So you can see they are very interrelated because networking. What about E? Stand for what? Anybody can help? E. Forgot everything, Lou. Thank you, Judy. Okay, Claudia, Nicole, yes, thank you. Experience. Okay, so that 新瓶舊酒, everything we learned before. In chapter 1, passion for the business, execution intelligence, customer focus, tenacity despite failure, social network experience, cognitive ability, and creativity. Okay, all these, and now somehow appear again here. And that's why when we talk about quality, when people presenting next week or you're listening presentation, we are talking about quality characteristic. Make good use of PICT, SECC together with what we are covering in the next 10 minutes. All right, so it will help you answer one of the questions. All right, so we will at least cover these 2 points. All right, and then also later on in the lecture notes, and we will also cover where can we got the neighbor, what are the responsibility, etc. But at least I need to get the first 2 topics covered so that you can have, you know, a better knowledge how to handle your presentation next week. And now let me get the lecture notes. Get ready, chapter 9. We don't have chapter 8 because it is about marketing issue. I don't want to complicate you too much, especially this is a GE course. All right, so if you cannot see the PowerPoint slide, let me know. I presume that you are now seeing the PPT showing chapter 9, building a new venture team. All right, okay, let's start. Okay, I hope my mouse works. Okay, another new term which we'll cover is the liability of newness. All right, so let me get a pen. The liability of newness. Right here. Okay. It means that they are still green head boy and they have no experience. They feel nervous when the first time they something like this. Okay, a liability of newness. All right, and then of course after this, after the definition, after the concept, which will help the presentation question number 1, and then we will talk about different elements, different composition of a new venture team. So with the new venture team, it can involve a lot of different professional people, director, advisor, blah, blah, blah. And then we will also cover that at the later stage. And actually, before the class, I try to adjust this computer setting to easily locate my pointer, but I don't know, it still doesn't work. Okay, that's why each and every time you hear the sound, something like that, because I need to locate where is my pointer. Now it's lost again. Anyway, okay. Now we start basically the definition. A team, okay. A team not only involve Jack and Sarah, okay. For the case of iUser, there can be a lot of people, involved. So in this lecture notes, when we're talking about a new venture team, of course, definitely it involves the founders, the people who found the business, and the founders here. All right. It also involves, the founders, of course, are the key employee. And not only this, the composition can be some sort of advisors. Here. Advisors, and then board of director if their company scale is very large, they also involve hold on, directors and also advisors, something like this, and also other paid employee. So make up the whole company, the whole team. However, because of the limited budget, all the team might not come together at the same time. Okay. Once again, since we just finished the presentation about Jack and Sarah, and then they are going to operate 10 shops, 10 small shops, the kiosk. And then in that case, they might need at least 10 shop manager, but in future they may expand. And that's why when they start, they might need Jack and Sarah, the 2-person, plus 10 employee. And if the thing goes well, they might expand. They might operate 20 shops, and then they might need 10 more people. And 實有一間喺左近, and then you go on expand. You might need another 5, another 20 people, etc., etc. So they may not come all together at the same time, and that it will be stage by stage. Otherwise, you are wasting your money. Young entrepreneur, they're always under capitalization. They need funding. All right, something like this. Okay. Also, once again, talking about the liability of newness. This is a new term which people or class may need to pay attention, in particular for the presentation group. All right, as I said, liability of newness. They are new. As I said, the crazy one, they are green head, and then that's why, yes, I have no experience, I have a lot of problem, all right? And that's why they have a high propensity to fail, a high chance, a propensity that, they have a failure rate or something, all right? And just now, if I didn't, heard wrongly, Thompson's preparation, they talk about 65%, they have argument, and then they may not, go on well for the new startup, according to some survey. True, a very high risk of failure, all right? And that's why you need a lawyer to help you, to support you. As a new starter, excuse me, as a new joiner or new entrepreneur, and then you have the liability of newness, excuse me, and you have a liability of newness for several reasons. One of the reasons is you cannot adjust quickly to the new role. In the past, you are student, all the professor, all the lecturer take care of you in school, your parents take care of you at home, your friends take care of you, and suddenly you change from people who grow up in protected house, a warm house, okay, 一間溫室長大. Suddenly you become a businessman, you become an owner, and then you may not be able to adjust to the new role. So it may make you psychologically feel sad. Oh my goodness, you feel nervous breakdown, something like that. And the other problem, apart from you cannot adjust being a student to become a businessman. Okay, this is a very significant change. All right. And also another issue is you don't have a track record. So that will be the two major liability as a new startup here. Okay, new role, and you don't have a track record. People, when you approach the supplier and ask them for credit period, 你去買貨話賒住數先 okay, you pay back 30 days later. The creditor, the supplier may say, who are you? 你憑什麼啊？要攞數期 I need cash because I never worked with you before. I don't know who you are. I don't trust you. You don't have track record. And that's why when you want to buy goods from me, cash, okay, cash, no 賒住, okay, you cannot have any credit. Something like this, okay. All right. And then later on, we will talk about, in the major part of the lecture notes, we'll talk about, yes, as a venture team. Hold on. As a venture team. And then, yes, you have founder, Jack and Sarah, etc. And then you also employ some key people as your management team. So they are the frontline people. And apart from this, at the back of the company, at the back scene, you might, big company, not startup, normally they don't have 董事局成員 unless you are MTR, so some big company, all right? So they have director, they have advisor, 有顧問團，有董事局，有投資隊。Lender and investor and other professional, such as some of you are CFA, some of you are CP in the future, so other kinds of professional. All right, here. Okay, so the rest of the lecture notes will cover all these. But before covering that, let me go for some basic description about the quality. So whether you go for founder or founders, okay, founders or founder, one-man band, sole proprietor, partnership or more, really depends. As I said, if you are a introvert person, you are Dr. L, all right, and then, hey, I cannot get along well, they all stupid, I am always the brightest man in the whole planet, and then you may start by yourself, maybe better, but as we mentioned, as a founding team founders, basically 財力智慧, you have more talent, okay? Somebody, if you are organizing a tourism company, I very good at Japanese, so I can be the tour guide, etc. And somebody will finance people. Okay, so in our tourist agency for Japanese inbound tour, outbound tour, whatever, and then I can be the financial controller. So everybody may have your different talent, but one-man band, they cannot know everything. They don't know everything, all right? And don't know all the things, okay? And that's why sometimes, of course, people got more talent, more money, but of course, the problem may be argument. Okay. Anyway, that's why whether you have one person or more person, it depends. But your characteristic, your personality will be very important, which have a significant impact, a serious impact on your future successfulness. All right. And then why? Okay, let's move on. Okay, just now we said, if you have a team of people and then you have more talent, you have more resources. Resources can be financial resources, can be network resources, and also everybody might have different background. They have different idea. And on top of these, and then you might have different network. So as far as network is concerned, we now have two different categories, talking about social network together with professional network. I will explain that later on. Okay, let me just try to go on with several PowerPoint slides and we'll come back to here. All right. If you have more people comes together and then not only financially support each other and also psychologically. Okay, just for example, Jack and Sarah come together. They are classmates only, they are not lover or whatever. And then just for example, they can share the burden of the business. And then whenever they encounter problem, they have two persons to come and discuss, 可以從長計議. Or even just for example, Jack got a girlfriend, but the girlfriend betrayed her and then got another husband, 大陸佬, and then Jack so feel too depressed, and then Sarah might give him some psychological support. Hey, don't worry, this is not the end of the world. You can have a new girlfriend, or the other way around. Okay, if Sarah was dumped by his boyfriend, and then things like that. So they may try to help each other in many different aspects, personal life or in the business world. All right, so it will be good. You have people, you know, psychologically support each other. But whether you want to have, you know, the physical support with each other depends on your relationship. Okay. Anyway, but the problem with 2 or more people, you might not get along well, and sometimes that can be one of the problem. So if ABC work together, okay, so we got 3 person, just for example, ABC, Andy, and then Betty, and then Chris. They are all best friends in university. So after they graduate, they form a business. And so happen, just so happen, okay, Andy, you know, is a CEO. And then Betty is the CFO. And Chris is the COO. So CEO is Chief Executive Officer. CFO, Chief Finance Officer, because Betty is a finance graduate. And then Chris is COO, Chief Operating Officer. Okay, they all are chief, okay? CEO, CFO, COO. However, as a normal setting in a Hong Kong company, normally CEO, you know, should be the head or supervise CFO and COO under a normal organizational setting. However, ABC might feel a little bit unhappy because, especially Betty and Chris, I thought we are all equal. Why? Why, hey, Andy, you are my supervisor. We contribute the same money. We are best friends in the past, but why you had me? You become my supervisor, and then they may feel not happy, and it's, in that case, conflict may arise. All right, and also once again, really depending on your personality, whether you think in our team, if we all graduate with Japanese study, is it better with you know, similar expertise, or we should have you know, a combination. One of the partner is Japanese study graduate, the other is finance, the other is account, the other is marketing, so that everybody have different expertise rather than everybody with the same expertise, which is good, but you all, for example, Japanese studies, and then you may not have any finance, faculty of business experience, or the other way around. If you're all finance people, nobody know marketing, nobody know management, human resources management, it can be a big trouble, all right? So, but it depends whether you go for duplicate, you know, different, the same or different, complement with each other. And later on, you will see a term homogeneous and heterogeneous, all right? And then also, this is also true. People, even though you know your partner, business partner, since kindergarten school, it's good. You have a sense of understanding about each other, but you never know about work habit, about the tolerance of risk, and also the passion. All right. And my personal suggestion, just for example, okay, if you and your partner, you are ABC, okay, Andy, Betty, and Chris, even though in the 4 years of studies and UOW College Hong Kong, you are best friend, yes, good. However, you may have a different mindset, a different work habit. I personally suggest if you want to go for business, somehow all the partners may go on a trip for 10 days, 7 days, 1 month, half a month, whatever, go on a trip. And then 去旅行咧就見真章㗎啦 okay? And then because it happened to me before, right? Just for example, some of your partner or your friend prefer, you know, when they go on the trip, they prefer to wake up at 6 a.m. and then having breakfast, leave the hotel at 7 a.m. so that they can travel as many hours as they can, because they are now on a 7-day trip. Every single second is important. However, you may be the type of person that, come on, we are coming to travel. We need to recharge your battery. Relax. Wake up at 6 o'clock. Are you crazy? We should wake up at 10 o'clock and then and then leave the hotel at 12 noon. So totally extremely different habit or the mindset. And somebody think you should make use of every 24 hours, every single second. But you may say, relax. You have been working hard in Hong Kong. Why still wake up at 6 o'clock? Okay. Example number one. Example number two, when you go to Japan or whatever, and then your partner might prefer to go to temple, 去啲神社啊, look at all those temple, etc. But you may say, hey, come on, so boring. We should go shopping. We should go look at the high tech. We should go to theme park. Somebody want to take photo of the scenery, 日本風情, but you prefer to have the crazy, moment in some theme park, okay, roller coaster, blah, blah, blah. And then you will get to know what are the mindset. I think even in your group cooperation, somebody, a deadline fighter, hey, relax, wait until last moment. But somebody say, we should finish our work 5 days before the due day so that we have contingency. This is work habit, all right? Anyway, I'm running out of time. Okay, so whether you go for same or similar, a homogeneous nature, or different people have different personality, okay, really depends on 火星撞地球，一個粒一個突， or we are very working in a harmonic situation because we both have the same personality, but sometimes it may not be good, depending on how well you work with your group mate. Okay, now here's the final one. Give me a few more minutes. Okay, so for example, we are talking about quality here, and then what we said here is it would be better, even though you are master graduate, bachelor degree graduate, basically it will be better you have some entrepreneurial experience. Okay, entrepreneurial, not experience yet, entrepreneurial education. All right, you have some basic know-how, some basic technique being an entrepreneur. All right, that's why you take a GE course, even though I major in Japanese studies or finance or account. But if you take a course about entrepreneur, I hope somehow you learn something, even though JTO is a rubbish lecturer, but at least out of the rubbish, you still find something useful to you in future, I hope, right? So yes, you have a relevant education to show that I learned something about entrepreneur. Will be a little bit better. Not only education, but also experience. So as far as experience is concerned, we have two types. The first type is here, entrepreneurial experience. Okay, experience in startup. The other one is industrial experience. All right. So what does it mean? If you want to open up a coffee shop, so it may be better you work in Starbucks, you work in Pacific Coffee before, and not only this, but if you have, you got experience, maybe you just work there as a barista, okay, 咖啡師, waiter, waitress, whatever, all right? However, on top of this, it would be better you also have a startup experience. Whether you start up a fashion store, accessory store, etc. So you have a startup experience. Plus, if you're going to start in a particular industry, you also have experience in that industry. Okay, so why we have experience in two different types? 你嗰個行頭同埋創業經驗。創業經驗 entrepreneurship, entrepreneurial experience, all right? 創業 and then 行頭 whether you go for catering, fashion, accessories, coffee, etc. Okay? In particular, talking about industrial experience, 有嗰個行頭經驗 because you can build up professional network. Okay, so of course you have startup, which is good. And then if you have industry experience in that particular industry, even though you are not the owner, you work there. For example, I think I quote example before, if you work in a coffee shop, and then you might get to know or contact with those coffee maker supplier, coffee bean supplier. So you got a network in coffee related matters, all right? And it will help you for your business, for your coffee shop, because you already know somebody who supply coffee beans, supply coffee machine, and even people who are furniture company supply the table and chair to you, all right? And apart from this, it will be also good. You are a very social person. You have social network. Your hiker friends, 爬山友, your MJ friend, 麻雀友, your karaoke friend, 唱 K 友, and because all your friends, you know them from karaoke, mahjong, go hiking, whatever. They may be coming from different profession, okay? And then whenever you need help regarding finance matter, some of them work in a bank so that they can offer you something good, the package. If you want to have some legal knowledge, some of you work in a legal firm, they are not lawyer, but at least they know a lot of lawyer. And then she is my MJ fan, 係我啲麻雀腳，佢喺律師樓做，識好多律師 etc. 你啲唱 K 友 somebody work as a nurse and they have a lot of doctor friends. So this kind of things will help you, your team, to have more solid backup support, something like this. Okay. All right. And then this is about section 2. So I overrun for 3 minutes already. I think all what I said just now in chapter 9 may help you to work on the 3 questions already, and I will complete that next week. Continue my lecture. So remind once again before I finish. Yes, I am finished. J2 finished. Okay, 冇晒氣. Let me come to here. Okay, and yes, we finished talking a little bit about chapter 9, which is sufficient good enough for people who work on week 10. Remind once again, we have one more presentation next week, and everybody start thinking about your creative product idea, and then prepare 1-2 page PowerPoint slide with a picture. So if you belong to group A, B, C, D, each of you individually will do the presentation in week 11. And E, F, G, H will do an individual presentation in week 12. And in these 2 weeks, everybody should present and listen. And that's why you can fill in the critique form to help your classmate. And after this, start focusing on individual plan, business plan. I am running out of voice, 冇晒氣啦，冇聲啦，失聲。That's all for today. Thank you for your patience, okay? And then 3-hour lecture tutorial is a long one, all right? Anyway, thank you. Have a nice evening and have a nice weekend. That's all I want to say. Goodbye, and you can stay behind and ask me question. You can turn on microphone. Otherwise, you. Thank you. Yes, see you all. Thank you. Thank you very much. Very lovely, all of you. Thanks all.